Have you ever stood before a birthday cake, the soft glow of 80 candles illuminating a face etched with a lifetime of stories? It is a moment of profound celebration, a testament to resilience, love, and the sheer journey of a long life. Yet, beneath the joyful surface, a quiet, unspoken question often lingers in the air. Why does this incredible milestone, the entry into one's 9th decade, so often seem to mark a turning point, a threshold beyond which health can decline with surprising speed? It's a question that touches us all, whether we are approaching this age ourselves, caring for aging parents, or simply contemplating the arc of human life. The truth is, the years after 80 introduce a new chapter, one governed by a unique set of rules. The challenges that arise are not merely about getting old in a generic sense. They are specific, interconnected, and deeply influenced by the habits we have cultivated, the care we receive, and the very biology of a body that has served us for more than 250,000 days. While countless individuals flourish well into their 90s and beyond, radiating vitality and wisdom, many others find their world shrinking, their strength waning, and their independence slipping through their fingers far more rapidly than they ever anticipated. In this deep dive discussion, we are going to move beyond simple platitudes and explore 6 powerful foundational reasons why life can become shorter and more challenging after the age of 80. These are not random theories, but observable patterns backed by medical understanding and real-world experience. For each reason, we will not only uncover the what and the why, but more importantly, we will illuminate the how. How to recognize these challenges, how to guard against them, and how to empower yourself or your loved ones to navigate this chapter with dignity, strength, and grace. I urge you to stay with me through this entire exploration, because the final reason we discuss is one that is often overlooked, yet it may hold the most profound key to unlocking a longer, healthier, and more vibrant life in the years ahead. Let us begin this important journey together. The first great challenge, and arguably the bedrock upon which much of our later life independence is built, is the relentless decline in muscle strength and mobility. This is a process so gradual it can be almost invisible in its early stages, a silent thief of strength that operates under the clinical name of sarcopenia. Think of your muscles as the living armor of your body, the dynamic scaffolding that supports your skeleton, powers your every move, and protects you from injury. Throughout our youth and middle age, we often take this incredible system for granted. But as the years advance, particularly after 80, the body's natural ability to build and maintain muscle mass begins to falter unless we make a conscious daily effort to counteract it. When this muscular scaffolding weakens, the consequences ripple through every aspect of life. Balance, once an unconscious certainty, becomes a delicate negotiation. Coordination falters. The simple act of rising from a favorite armchair or navigating a slightly uneven sidewalk suddenly requires concentration. This increased instability dramatically raises the risk of falls, and for someone over 80, a single serious fall can be a life-altering event. It is often not the fall itself that is the final straw, but the devastating cascade of events that follows. A fractured hip, a long and disorienting hospital stay, the subsequent surgery, and the grueling rehabilitation. This sequence can erode confidence and permanently reduce independence, setting in motion a decline in overall health that is incredibly difficult to reverse. When mobility becomes restricted, a vicious cycle often takes hold. Less movement leads to even greater muscle weakness and stiffness. This, in turn, makes everyday tasks more daunting. Climbing a flight of stairs feels like scaling a mountain. Carrying a bag of groceries from the car becomes a monumental effort. Faced with these challenges, many older adults begin to instinctively avoid them, further accelerating the loss of muscle and function. Over time, this creeping inactivity takes its toll on the cardiovascular system, diminishing heart and lung capacity and lowering the body's resilience against even minor illnesses. This loss of physical strength is never just a physical problem. It seeps into our emotional and mental well-being. When you can no longer move through the world with the ease you once did, it is natural to feel a sense of frustration, vulnerability, or even embarrassment. This can lead to a withdrawal from social activities that were once a source of joy. A weekly bridge game, a walk in the park with a friend, or attending community events. This social retreat deepens feelings of isolation and stress, which themselves have a measurable negative impact on physical health, further weakening the immune system and increasing susceptibility to disease. I remember a man from my old neighborhood in Vermont, a gentleman named Robert who was 84. He had always been a vigorous man, known for his immaculate garden and his habit of stacking a perfect cord of firewood each autumn. But one particularly harsh winter, he curtailed his daily walks, reasoning that it was safer to stay indoors. Within just a few months, he noticed a startling change. He was getting breathless more easily, and his legs felt heavy, almost uncooperative. By the time spring finally arrived, the simple act of kneeling to plant his beloved tomatoes felt utterly exhausting. The swiftness of his decline took him by surprise. While he eventually worked with a physical therapist to regain some of his lost strength, it served as a stark reminder of how quickly our precious mobility can fade when it is not actively preserved. The good news is that this decline is not an inevitability. Even at 80 and beyond, it is possible to significantly slow this process. The key is not intense, punishing exercise, but gentle, consistent movement. Activities like walking, light resistance training with bands, Tai Chi, or even chair-based exercises can work wonders in maintaining strength and flexibility. The most important ingredient is consistency. Avoiding movement allows the decline to accelerate, but weaving it into the fabric of daily life can be the single most powerful act in preserving the ability to live independently, confidently, and ultimately longer. If you've ever seen this happen to a loved one or are working to maintain your own strength, share a 1 in the comments below to let us know you're with us. Your journey matters. Flowing directly from the challenge of maintaining physical strength is another critical factor that can shorten life after 80, the pervasive issue of poor nutrition, often coupled with an insufficient intake of calories. As we age, our relationship with food can undergo a profound transformation. A healthy appetite, once a reliable signal from our body, can become diminished or unpredictable. This can happen for a multitude of reasons, from a natural decrease in activity levels to changes in our senses of taste and smell, or even as a side effect of necessary medications. Unfortunately, when appetite shrinks, it often means the body is not receiving the essential fuel and building blocks it needs to repair itself, fight off illness, and maintain its intricate systems. Over time, this inadequate nutrition quietly weakens the body from the inside out. The immune system becomes less robust, muscle mass deteriorates at a faster rate, and the body's ability to recover from an injury or an illness slows dramatically. For many older adults, practical challenges compound the problem. Chewing or swallowing can become difficult, especially if dental health has declined. This can lead to an unconscious avoidance of wonderfully nutritious foods like crisp vegetables, lean proteins like chicken or fish, or healthy nuts and seeds. In their place, softer, more processed foods often become the default choice. While these foods may be easier to eat, they are frequently stripped of the vital vitamins, minerals, and high-quality protein the body desperately needs to stay strong. Without enough protein, for example, the process of sarcopenia we just discussed goes into overdrive, making weakness and frailty an ever-present threat. Another subtle but significant issue is the way meals can become simplified or even skipped altogether, particularly for those living alone. The effort of planning, shopping, and cooking a balanced meal can feel overwhelming. A simple, nourishing breakfast might be replaced by a lone cup of coffee. Lunch might dwindle to a small snack or a piece of toast instead of a plate filled with color and nutrients. While these choices might seem insignificant on any given day, their cumulative effect over weeks and months is profound. The body begins to operate in a state of nutritional deficit. Even mild deficiencies in key nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, B12, or iron can trigger a cascade of serious problems, ranging from accelerated bone loss and chronic fatigue to impaired cognitive function and a depressed mood. I once had a conversation with an 82-year-old friend, a lovely woman from Florida named Eleanor, who had been losing weight without trying. She confessed that she often just didn't feel hungry, and that cooking for one felt lonely after her husband had passed. Sometimes she would skip dinner entirely. When her daughter finally convinced her to see her doctor, blood tests revealed she was deficient in several essential nutrients. With the guidance of a dietitian, Eleanor began making small, manageable changes. She started blending nutrient-dense smoothies with protein powder, keeping pre-cut fruit and hard-boiled eggs in the fridge for easy snacks, and preparing large batches of soup that she could simply reheat. Within a few weeks, the difference was remarkable. Her energy returned, her mood lifted, and she felt stronger than she had in years. Good nutrition after 80 is not about forcing down large, unappealing meals. It is about being smart and strategic. It is about making every bite count. Choosing colorful vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains, and healthy fats in smaller, more frequent portions can make a world of difference. Every meal, every snack is an opportunity to provide your body with the tools it needs to maintain vitality and fend off decline. Have you found a simple, nutritious meal or snack that's easy to prepare? Share your ideas in the comments. You might just help someone else today. As we build upon these foundational layers of physical strength and nutrition, we arrive at our third major challenge, the complex reality of managing chronic health conditions. By the time a person reaches their 80s, it is statistically very common to be living with at least one, and often multiple chronic health issues. Conditions like heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, high blood pressure, or respiratory illnesses become a part of the daily landscape. The critical distinction between thriving with these conditions and being overcome by them lies in careful, consistent, day-to-day management. Unfortunately, many older adults face significant barriers that make it difficult to stay on top of their health needs, allowing small, manageable issues to snowball into serious, life-threatening crises. Part of the difficulty is that the body's warning signals can become more subtle with age. Symptoms like fatigue, shortness of breath, or minor swelling in the ankles might be easily dismissed as just unavoidable signs of getting older. In reality, they could be the first whispers of a worsening heart condition or uncontrolled diabetes. There is also a common and stoic tendency to downplay discomfort, often to avoid worrying loved ones or feeling like a burden. This well-intentioned silence, however, can dangerously delay necessary medical intervention. The quiet, insidious truth is that conditions like high blood pressure can silently damage arteries, and high blood sugar can wreak havoc on nerves, eyes, and kidneys for years if left unchecked, dramatically increasing the risk of a sudden heart attack, stroke, or organ failure. Properly managing these illnesses requires a partnership with healthcare providers, but maintaining that partnership isn't always simple. For someone who no longer drives, arranging transportation to appointments can be a logistical nightmare. The healthcare system itself can be overwhelming, with long wait times and complex insurance paperwork. The rising cost of medications can also lead to a dangerous form of self-rationing, where pills are skipped or cut in half to make a prescription last longer. For those living alone, there may be no one nearby to notice subtle changes in their health, a new cough, a growing confusion, or an unsteadiness in their gait, or to provide the encouragement needed to seek timely medical attention. As a result, by the time a doctor is finally consulted, the condition may have advanced to a point where treatment options are more limited and the road to recovery is far steeper. I recall a man named George, an 85-year-old from Ohio who was juggling both diabetes and congestive heart failure. He was a proud man and admitted to me that he sometimes skipped his blood pressure medication on days he felt fine, thinking a day or two wouldn't make a difference. But over time, these seemingly minor lapses in his routine caught up with him. His body was retaining fluid, putting immense strain on his heart, which ultimately led to an emergency hospitalization. With a more rigorous medication schedule and closer monitoring from a home health nurse, his doctors were able to stabilize his condition. The scare, however, was a profound wake-up call, a stark lesson in how quickly a carefully balanced system can spiral out of control. The reality is that chronic health conditions rarely disappear. They are lifetime companions, but they can be managed. Regular checkups, honest and open communication with doctors, strict adherence to treatment plans, and making necessary lifestyle adjustments are the cornerstones of slowing disease progression. At 80 and beyond, this diligence is not optional. It is the very foundation for living a longer, healthier, and more independent life. If you find this information valuable and believe in the power of proactive health management, hit that like button to show your support. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our future discussions. Beyond the purely physical and medical challenges lies a factor so powerful it can influence all the others, yet it is often the most overlooked: the corrosive impact of social isolation and emotional loneliness. As we navigate the terrain past 80, the social landscape of our lives can change dramatically. The vibrant network of friends, colleagues, and neighbors we once had can begin to thin. Friends and family may move away, pass on, or become less available due to their own health challenges. The casual daily interactions that once stitched our days together, a chat with a neighbor over the fence, the shared laughter at a community potluck, or even a simple greeting from the mail carrier, can quietly fade away, leaving behind long, silent stretches of solitude. While a certain amount of peace and quiet can be welcome, profound loneliness is an entirely different state of being. It is not just a feeling, it is a physiological condition with measurable detrimental effects on the body. An abundance of scientific research has shown that chronic social isolation can be as damaging to long-term health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It has been linked to increased blood pressure, higher levels of the stress hormone, cortisol, and systemic inflammation, all of which are underlying risk factors for the most serious conditions of aging, including heart disease, stroke, and dementia. Emotionally, the weight of isolation can lead to deep depression. This not only crushes the spirit, but also saps the motivation needed to perform essential self-care, like eating well, staying active, or adhering to medical routines. Over time, this neglect creates a downward spiral that becomes increasingly difficult to escape. For many older adults, declining mobility is a primary driver of this isolation. If driving is no longer a safe or viable option, the world can shrink dramatically. Attending a church service, visiting friends, or going to a senior center becomes a complex logistical problem. Public transportation might feel overwhelming or inaccessible, especially for those with balance, vision, or hearing challenges. In the face of these obstacles, it becomes tempting to simply stay home. The price of this perceived safety, however, is a slow but steady erosion of our life-sustaining social bonds. Technology can certainly help bridge some of these gaps, but it is not a perfect substitute. Phone calls, video chats, and social media can maintain contact, but they often lack the irreplaceable warmth and nuance of face-to-face human interaction. For some, the technology itself can be a barrier, creating more frustration than connection. I once knew a woman named Betty, an 87-year-old in Chicago, who lived alone in the house where she'd raised her family. Her children, living on opposite coasts, called faithfully every Sunday, but her days were marked by a profound silence. Over time, her neighbors noticed she was losing interest in her hobbies, skipping meals, and often not getting dressed until late in the afternoon. One day, a neighbor gently coaxed her into joining a local book club that met at the library. Betty was hesitant at first, but she went. The change was astonishing. Within a few weeks of having that regular, stimulating social event to look forward to, her energy returned, her appetite improved, and the light came back into her eyes. It was a beautiful reminder that human connection is not merely pleasant, it is a biological necessity. Maintaining these vital social ties after 80 requires intentional effort. It might mean joining a community group, volunteering, attending faith-based gatherings, or simply scheduling regular visits with friends and family. It is not a luxury, it is a vital component of aging well. Human connection is so vital. Have you ever reached out to an older neighbor or relative and seen the difference it made? Share your story in the comments below. Let's inspire each other to connect. Our fifth critical factor is an invisible but ever-present threat, an increased vulnerability to infections. As we age, our immune system, the body's magnificent and intricate defense force, naturally becomes less efficient. This process, known as immunosenescence, means that the body's ability to detect and fight off invading pathogens like bacteria and viruses is diminished. Consequently, common illnesses that a younger person might shrug off in a few days, such as a seasonal cold, the flu, or a urinary tract infection, can have a much more severe impact on an older adult. What was once a minor inconvenience can now lead to weeks of debilitating fatigue, serious complications like pneumonia, or even life-threatening sepsis and hospitalization. This reduced defensive capacity also makes it easier for infections to spread within the body and become much more severe if not treated swiftly and aggressively. This vulnerability stems from several age-related changes. The production of new, naive immune cells slows down, meaning the body is less equipped to fight off novel threats. Existing immune cells may not communicate as effectively, leading to a delayed or weaker response. Furthermore, the healing process slows, so a small cut or skin sore, which provides an entry point for bacteria, takes longer to close. Conditions that might seem minor at first, such as a urinary tract infection or a skin infection like cellulitis, can escalate with alarming speed if initial symptoms are ignored or mistaken for something else. This age-related decline in immune function is often compounded by the presence of chronic health conditions. Illnesses like diabetes, heart disease, and chronic kidney disease can further weaken the body's defenses, making it even harder to mount an effective counterattack against a new infection. The very medications taken to manage these chronic conditions can sometimes suppress the immune system as a side effect, adding yet another layer of risk. This combination of factors creates a precarious situation where an infection that would be a minor nuisance for a 40-year-old can become a dire medical emergency for an 85-year-old. Lifestyle and environmental factors also play a significant role. Spending more time indoors, especially in congregate settings or during winter months, can increase exposure to airborne illnesses. Visits from well-meaning friends, children, and grandchildren can inadvertently introduce viruses or bacteria into the home. While complete isolation is unhealthy and counterproductive, a heightened awareness of these risks and a commitment to preventative hygiene are essential. I remember speaking with an 81-year-old man from Pennsylvania named Sam, who developed a severe case of pneumonia after what he initially thought was just a lingering cough from a cold. A proud and independent person, he delayed seeing a doctor, assuming it would clear up on its own. Within a matter of days, he was struggling to breathe and had to be admitted to the hospital. Thankfully, he made a full recovery, but the experience left him with a newfound respect for acting quickly at the first sign of trouble. His story is a powerful reminder that at this age, early intervention can make all the difference. Prevention, therefore, is paramount. Staying up to date on recommended vaccinations like those for the flu, pneumonia, and shingles is crucial. Practicing thorough and frequent hand washing, maintaining good oral hygiene to prevent bacteria from entering the bloodstream, and seeking prompt medical attention for any unusual or persistent symptoms are all practical, life-extending strategies. This is such a crucial piece of the puzzle. If you're learning something new about protecting your health or the health of a loved one, let me know by commenting with the number 5 below. This brings us to our 6th and final reason, a habit so pervasive and damaging that it acts as a powerful accelerator for all the other factors we have discussed, the slide into a sedentary lifestyle. After 80, physical activity is not just about fitness. It is a fundamental requirement for life itself. When our days become dominated by sitting, in a chair, on a sofa, in front of a television, and movement is limited to only the most necessary trips around the house, the body begins a rapid process of deconditioning. This decline may feel gradual at first, but over time, its corrosive effects touch nearly every system, from circulation and digestion to cognitive function and emotional state. A body in motion stays in motion. A body at rest begins to decay. The shift toward a sedentary life often begins subtly. Chronic joint pain from arthritis, a growing fear of falling, or simple fatigue can make older adults less inclined to go for walks or engage in activities they once enjoyed. The undeniable comfort of a favorite recliner can start to feel more appealing than the effort required for even light exercise. The television, with its endless stream of passive entertainment, becomes a constant companion. While rest is undoubtedly important, an excess of it, unbalanced by regular movement, allows muscles to atrophy, bones to become more porous and fragile, and the heart to lose its endurance. This physically weakened state makes it harder to recover from any illness and dramatically increases the risk of serious injury from even a minor stumble. The devastating effects of inactivity extend far beyond the physical realm. Movement is essential for brain health. It stimulates blood flow, delivering vital oxygen and nutrients that support memory, concentration, and mood. Without this regular stimulation, cognitive decline can accelerate, and feelings of apathy, anxiety, and depression can take deeper root. For many seniors, a lack of physical activity also closes doors to social interaction. If they previously participated in group activities like a walking club, a dance class, or community gardening, their social circle shrinks along with their physical world. This creates a double blow: less movement and less connection, a toxic combination directly linked to shorter, less healthy lives. I think of a man named Arthur, an 86-year-old from Arizona who, after a minor knee injury, had begun to spend most of his days sitting in his armchair. Over the course of several months, his world shrank to the size of his living room. His stamina plummeted to the point where he became short of breath just walking to the kitchen. With gentle encouragement from his family and guidance from his doctor, he started a simple daily routine: 10 minutes of gentle walking in his backyard in the morning and a few simple balance exercises while holding on to the kitchen counter in the afternoon. Within weeks, the change was palpable. His energy improved, his mood brightened, and he felt more confident and stable on his feet. His story is a testament to the fact that it is never too late to reclaim some of what has been lost. The reality is that after 80, the body needs movement as much as it ever did, perhaps even more. Avoiding a sedentary lifestyle is one of the most powerful choices you can make to extend not only the length of your life, but more importantly, the quality of it. It's never too late to add more movement to your day. If you agree and are feeling inspired to move a little more, drop a 6 in the comments. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the bell. It truly helps our channel grow. As we draw this discussion to a close, let us take a moment to see these 6 threads not as separate issues, but as an interconnected web. Declining muscle strength makes activity more difficult, paving the way for a sedentary life. A sedentary life can suppress appetite, leading to poor nutrition. Poor nutrition weakens the immune system, increasing vulnerability to infections. Unmanaged chronic conditions drain energy, making both activity and social engagement feel impossible. And loneliness can erode the will to manage any of these challenges. Each factor feeds and amplifies the others. But just as they can create a downward spiral, understanding them can create a powerful upward spiral of health and well-being. By recognizing these risks, you are empowered to take conscious, deliberate steps to counteract them, to protect your health, and to make the years ahead as full, vibrant, and meaningful as possible. Perhaps you saw a reflection of yourself or a loved one in these descriptions. Maybe you have noticed your own activity level has waned, or you have been putting off a doctor's appointment. Perhaps you have realized that you are eating less than your body needs or spending more time alone than you would like. None of these patterns have to be permanent. The very first step toward positive change is awareness, and you have taken that step today. Remember that small, consistent changes can yield magnificent results, especially after 80. A short daily walk, an extra serving of vegetables, a weekly phone call to an old friend, a renewed commitment to following your medical plan. These actions add up. It is not about a sudden, drastic overhaul of your life. It is about building manageable, sustainable habits that strengthen your body, lift your spirit, and keep you connected to the world around you. Life after 80 can and should be rich with meaning, joy, and purpose. Think of these years not as a decline, but as a stewardship. You are the caretaker of a lifetime of experience, wisdom, and love, housed within a body that deserves the best possible care. Thank you for joining me on this important journey today. I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one small positive change you feel inspired to make for yourself or a loved one after hearing this today. Your thoughts and stories are incredibly important, so please do not hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us immense motivation and encouragement. If you found this video helpful, please show your support by giving it a like, subscribing to our channel, and sharing it with someone who might benefit. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.